She changed her name. She left the state. She gave one interview. She described herself as a victim. And for 8 years, the world moved on. The phone records did not. You have followed this case. You know the conviction. You know the confession. You know Chris Watts is inside Dodge Correctional Institution right now, serving 3 consecutive life sentences, and you know he will die there. That part of justice is secured. That part is not what we are here to discuss. We are here because one person walked away. She sat across from investigators 6 separate times. She called the police herself. She handed over her phone. And the story she constructed across those 6 sessions became the version the world accepted. This is not a theory. This is not speculation. Every detail you are about to hear comes directly from time-stamped, forensically confirmed, publicly available discovery documents. We are assembling them in one place. For the first time. Subscribe before we go any further. What we are building here is bigger than one video, and you need to be present for all of it. Here is Promise 1. By the end of this video, you will understand what a forensic detective wrote in an official government report, and the one specific word he chose to describe a woman law enforcement called a cooperative witness. Here is Promise 2. You will understand what happened across 7 days between that report and the guilty plea, and why those 7 days tell you everything. Stay with me. We have barely started. Let us begin with the foundation she built for investigators, and then let us look at what her own phone was doing while she built it. Nicole Kessinger told investigators one consistent story. She believed Chris Watts was nearly divorced. She thought the separation was already underway. She told them she genuinely did not know she was the other woman, because in her account, there was no other woman. The marriage had already effectively ended. That was her pillar. Her entire defense of her own conduct rested on it. Now look at what her phone was doing. July 24th, 2018, weeks into their relationship. She opened Google and typed one specific phrase, not "man I'm dating who is separated," not "man going through a divorce." She typed, "man I'm having an affair with says he'll leave his wife." Affair, her word, her search, her device. You do not type that phrase if you genuinely believe you are dating a separated man. That language belongs exclusively to someone who knows the marriage is very much alive. Move forward to August 4th. Chris Watts is in North Carolina on a family trip, a trip Kessinger later claimed she had encouraged. That same afternoon, she spent 2 consecutive hours searching wedding dresses online. 2 full hours. And on that same afternoon, her phone accessed both Chris and Shannan's Facebook pages. Shannan had publicly announced her pregnancy weeks before that date. Kessinger told investigators across 6 sessions that discovering that pregnancy through news coverage was one of the most shocking moments of her entire life. She accessed that page. The announcement was there. Now we reach the detail that District Attorney Michael Rock confirmed on record, and then confirmed his office never pursued. Forensic analysis placed Kessinger searching Shannan Watts by name as early as January 2018. She told investigators her relationship with Chris did not begin until June 2018. She was searching for the victim 5 months before she claims to have known the victim existed. Rock confirmed the data was real. When reporters asked why it was never independently investigated, he said, "Because Chris Watts had already pleaded guilty." The district attorney confirmed the anomaly, then confirmed nobody chased it. That is the official record. But the search history is not the detail that stops serious researchers cold. What stops them is the morning of August 13th and exactly where her phone was at 6:16 a.m. Investigators subpoenaed months of her phone records. The cell tower data built a map, same roads, same towers, morning after morning after morning, predictable, consistent, total uniformity across the entire prior record, until August 13th, 2018. At 6:16 a.m., her phone pinged a tower it had never once used across all those months. That tower placed her device in the proximity of one specific address, 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, the Watts family home. The same address she had searched on Google less than 36 hours before. Chris Watts had left that address at approximately 5:45 a.m. By 6:16 a.m., he was already northeast on the highway, heading toward the oil well site. He was not at the house. She was not calling him. She called a man named Jim, photographed with both of them at the Colorado sand dunes, later offered as her alibi witness, and ultimately a man she refused to formally name to investigators. That tower never appeared in her records again. Not before, not after, never. No investigator formally asked her to account for this location. No official explanation exists anywhere in the public record. Here is what the documented record shows happened on August 13th alone. 5 confirmed anomalies. 0 formal answers. 1. Her phone pinged a tower near the Watts family home at 6:16 a.m., a tower with no prior or subsequent appearances across months of records. 2. She had searched the Watts home address online less than 36 hours before that ping. That search sits inside the discovery file. 3. She requested photographic proof of Chris's presence at Survey 319, the confirmed crime scene, on the morning of the murders. Across months of daily communication, she had never once asked him to photograph any other work location on any other day. 4. She spent 156 minutes on the phone with Chris on the night of the murders, calls she could not coherently account for when investigators walked her through them. 5. At 2:05 a.m. on August 14th, a Frederick police officer connected on Chris's work phone. Within seconds of that call connecting, Kessinger called his personal phone. Both lines ran simultaneously. She has never been asked to explain that timing. That question lives in the record. It has never received a formal answer. A cell tower placed her phone near that address at 6:16 in the morning, a tower her phone had never used before and never used again. I need to know where you stand. Does that single detail change how you have understood this case? Drop it in the comments right now. Now we reach the piece that no documentary has ever placed front and center. What one forensic detective wrote inside an official government report, and what happened exactly 7 days later. On October 30th, 2018, Detective Michael Prill submitted his forensic report to the Weld County District Attorney's Office. It read differently from everything else in the discovery file. Prill documented her systematic deletion of evidence, text messages, photos, contacts, emails, wiped before she surrendered her device. He flagged communication channels the investigation had never touched, Skype records, never requested, Snapchat, never subpoenaed, a secret calculator application on her phone receiving images entirely outside any standard message thread. Images that required a separate forensic investigation to trace. An investigation that never happened. Then Prill documented the ceiling. The Northern Colorado Forensic Laboratory could not achieve complete data extraction from Apple devices. Hundreds, possibly thousands. of messages were gone permanently. He stated this limitation explicitly in writing. The investigation closed anyway. Subscribe right now. Part 2 goes directly into what that deleted data contained and what legal options may still exist in 2026. You need to be here for that. And then came the word. In an official government forensic report, a document that traveled from the DA's office to the court to defense counsel and then to the defendant, Detective Michael Prill used one specific word to describe Nicole Kessinger's voicemails and her general affect across all the evidence he reviewed. Creepy. A forensic detective chose that word in an official document. For a woman law enforcement had classified as a cooperative, protected witness. Prill submitted that report October 30th. Discovery materials typically reach a defendant within several days. By approximately November 2nd, Chris Watts very likely held that report in his hands at Weld County Jail. On November 6th, exactly 1 week later, he accepted a guilty plea. No trial, no cross-examination, no Nicole Kessinger on a stand answering for any of it. 1 week between that report and that plea. A forensic detective used the word creepy in an official government report to describe a woman classified as a cooperative witness. 7 days later, Chris Watts pleaded guilty. Tell me, in the comments, does that timeline change anything for you?